Everyone who is waking in the night with a baby anxiously wonders, when is baby going to sleep through the night so that I can sleep through the night too? It gets very tiring to stay up with a baby, and as much as you love your baby and love seeing your baby, you still are tired and you still have responsibilities to take care of in the day, so you're very much looking forward to getting that solid sleep at night again. In this video, we're going to talk about different methods of how to drop the night feed so that you can get baby sleeping through the night, so that you can also sleep through the night. Hello, my name is Valerie. I blog at babywisemom.com. I've been blogging there since the year 2007, and I love helping parents love being parents. And part of that is by helping them get great sleep. So let's get to it. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. The first strategy is to wait for baby to drop the feeding on her own. I know that's not a very exciting way to go about it, but it is the first method I recommend trying before you move on to other things. While doing this method, you want to focus on your days. Make sure you have an eat-wake-sleep cycle down. Make sure you're having regular naps, that your day starts at the same time each day, that bedtime starts at the same time each night. These things will help your baby to have consistent, solid days, and I always say, if you get your days straight, the night will follow. As you're working on this method, remember that it is totally normal for your baby to sleep through the night one night and then wake up the next night. Sleep through the night a couple of nights and then wake up for a couple of nights. Sleep through the night one night, wake up 2 nights. It has this cycle that happens, and that's very normal for babies. Not every baby does it, but I would say most do. The second strategy is what I call the slow wean. This is a great strategy if you think baby doesn't need to eat in the night, but you aren't quite sure. This is also a great method if your baby doesn't need a full feeding at night, but does need some food at night. To do the slow wean, you start by cutting 1 to 2 ounces if you're bottle feeding, or 1 to 2 minutes off of the normal time taken to eat if you're breastfeeding. And then you wait a couple of days, and then you cut some more. So every 2 to maybe 5 days, depending on what you're comfortable with, you cut out 1 to 2 ounces, 1 to 2, maybe 3 to 5 minutes off of your feeding, depending on how long that feeding is. This is slowly weaning your baby from that feeding, and the idea is that your baby will make up for those ounces in the daytime. So usually babies rearrange their feedings, they don't just drop them. So your baby will eat more in the day and then need less at night. A great bonus for breastfeeding moms with this method is that it slowly helps your body adjust to the change in milk production rather than it just happening all at once. The next method and strategy is to go into your baby when your baby wakes at night and redo the bedtime routine, or maybe a shortened version of the bedtime routine, and put baby back to bed without feeding. This is a great option if you are positive your baby is not hungry in the night and doesn't need to eat, but you don't want to just leave your baby in the bed, and so you go in and you send a clear signal that it's time for sleep because you're doing the sleep routine. Your hope is then that your baby will fall back asleep. Some babies will do this and they'll just fall back asleep. They get the cue, they didn't need to eat. Having that bedtime routine again helps them understand, okay, it's still time to sleep. But not all babies will respond that way. Some will not fall back asleep, and then you have to decide what to do from there. The fourth idea for getting your baby to drop that night feed is to get baby to go back to sleep without eating. So we just talked about one way to accomplish this, and that's through doing the bedtime routine, but there are other ways to get this done. Your hope is that your baby will start to sleep through the night. If there's consistently no food at night, then your baby gets used to there being no food and won't be waking for the food. One important method to use when doing this is some form of sleep training. So you can do sleep training in the day for naps before you try it at night, but you may have to do some at night also. Cry It Out is a very fast way to do some sleep training, but it's not the only way. And so there's a lot of options. One great way for young babies, newborns, is to do the 4 S's sleep training. There's no cry sleep solutions. There are options for you if you're not comfortable with Cry It Out, but Cry It Out is a very fast, effective way, especially for older babies. If you're going to go with this method of getting baby to go back to sleep without eating, I highly recommend you start on a weekend so that you're not worried about having to function the next day. That's assuming that your weekend doesn't have big plans, but start on a night when the next day you can be super tired and it's not going to cause big problems. It's very important to note that you absolutely must figure out and address why baby is waking at night in order to stop baby waking at night. If your baby is waking from hunger, you can't drop that night feeding without fixing that hunger in some other fashion. So, like I said, you have to get that food in baby during the day instead of at night. You can't just drop the feeding without making sure baby gets that food in the day. If your baby's waking at night because your baby is cold, then you're not going to be able to stop this waking without addressing baby's cold. So make sure you're aware of why baby is waking and address that as your problem solving to get baby to drop this feeding. And there you have it. These solutions can help you to get baby sleeping through the night, dropping that night feed. Again, make sure that you fix your days first, nights will follow, and make sure that you are aware of why baby is waking at night. And sometimes that takes some trial and error, and figure that out and address that so that baby will not need to wake up in the night anymore. Happy sleeping!